I refer to this Cadison as the C8. I bought my C8 for $86 during the AliExpress November sale. At this time, you can still buy the C8 for under $100. The C8's lightweight cardboard watch box was a pleasant surprise, as I was expecting a plastic eyesore like this, which is what I'm used to getting from Chinese watch companies. The C8 comes with a warranty card, an instruction booklet, a dust cloth, and an actual metal pushpin tool. This Omega Seamaster watch or a similar model was most likely the watch that Cadison was trying to copy when they designed the C8. Cadison appears to have bitten off more than they could chew when they attempted to copy Omega's domed crystal. I bought the C8 mainly because it had what looked like a cool layered dial. Cadison's advertising for the C8 is deceptive. I'm okay with distortion around the edge of a crystal, which Cadison is trying to suggest in this photo, but the C8's entire dial is distorted by the crystal. One can barely get a good look at the C8's dial at any angle because of the extreme distortion effect created by its crystal. I can't properly see or review the C8's dial because all I can see is a blur of bent light. The crystal is good quality sapphire. The 90-click bezel purrs. This is one of, if not the smoothest bezel I've ever reviewed. I can rotate this puppy all day long. The bezel is a little misaligned. I don't think it's a big deal. The bezel insert is ceramic. The C8 fits wrists up to about 8.5 inches in width. The C8 is 38 millimeters in diameter. 5 years ago, you had to be very secure with your masculinity to rock a 38 millimeter. Because big watch companies are now coming out with much smaller watches, 38 millimeters is now more acceptable. Not surprisingly, considering the C8's modest size, it wears great. Wearing the C8 is a nostalgic experience for me. It brings back memories of the old days when men didn't have to wear clown-sized watches to prove that their penises were of adequate size. Just a few decades ago, I was wearing a 34 millimeter. Here's the case back. The crown has a Reese's peanut butter cup shape and a logo on it with nice depth. The crown is tiny. Since the bezel eclipses the case by about 0.5 millimeter, it obstructs the already tiny crown. I'm sure this was done by design in order to afford more protection to the crown, but it means that a guy with relatively thick fingers like me can barely operate the crown. To operate the crown, I must pinch the very edge of the crown. This edge is too rough as well. I sure as hell wouldn't want to manually wind this rough little nub of a crown. Sometimes it seems as if I need to apply too much force to pull the crown out to its second position. I'm not sure if the mechanism is a little janky or the problem is that I can't get a good enough grip on the crown to get the leverage to pull it out all the way. The clasp won't snap close when it's pressed together. To close the clasp, you must press the pushers in first. Had this clasp been able to close properly, it would have been a good clasp. I know some know-it-all in the comment is going to say something like, "The clasp is supposed to be like this." No, it's not supposed to be like this. This clasp has a defect. I went to Catholic school with Vanu Bose, son of the guy who invented Bose speakers. Vanu Bose knew everything and he was always better than you were. I hate bastards like Vanu. Don't be a Vanu about the clasp. I suspect that a bad batch of clasps were machined and someone made the decision to either use or sell them rather than toss them into the garbage where they belonged. Once the clasp is locked, it seems to stay locked. You might figure that for a $100 watch, you'll take your chances with a janky clasp. I don't think this is a reasonable risk. Even if you got a C8 with a non-defective clasp, you'd still be dealing with a virtually unreadable dial. The unsized weight of the C8 is 144 grams. The case width, including the crown, is 40.5 millimeters. The lug-to-lug is 44.5 millimeters. The bracelet width is 18 millimeters, which is perfectly good considering the C8's moderate case size. The bracelet tapers down to 16 millimeters. The clasp is 17.5 millimeters in width. You can't go wrong with these specs. These are very wearable measurements for a wide variety of people. Cadison advertises the C8 as having a Seiko NH35A movement. The C8 is even advertised as having 200 meters of water resistance. The C8 does not pass my Lume test. As you can see, the hands received considerably less Lume than the indexes and fade quickly. The C8 is spec'd up to the yin-yang and cheap. A watch is, however, more than its specs. I give the C8 an easy F, which is disappointing as Cadison came very close to making a good watch. I don't want to hear any apologist BS in the comments that goes like, "It's a cheap watch, what do you expect?" I expect the watch to be readable and free of defects no matter what the price of the watch is. The apologist argument is especially weak these days, considering that this similar price steel dive Willard completely obliterates the Cadison C8. I hope to review this Willard soon. Also, don't be a Vanu and inform me that the C8 uses a sandwich dial, not a layer dial. We're not elitist assholes at Watch Lab. We don't use the exclusive language of the rich kids. All Vanus should just piss off right now, please. And don't forget to watch my 2022 Watchy Awards show on December 31st. And make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate people's kind words, but if you really want to show your appreciation, subscribe, even if you have no intention of coming back. I am taking on the corrupt watch review industrial complex all by myself on a shoestring, and I desperately need more subscribers for cred. Please fucking subscribe, and also please like. Thank you. This may be my last review of 2022. I'll be hitting the ground running next year with some sexy steel dives, a San Martin, and an Islander military watch. I'm also waiting for this gimmicky Timex Expedition North to get back in stock, as the time teller appears to have been paid off by Timex to do an infomercial on this watch for them. For now, I'm going to urge people to not buy this Timex, as it might have a noisy, non-hacking movement like the other garbage Timexes that I've reviewed. If you really must have it, at least wait till I review it so that I can sell it to you at a discount.